first time Maya dropped the vase, she didn't even bother sweeping up the shards. She just stepped over them, like she'd been stepping over the pieces of her own life for years. 30 years old, small town in Kentucky, working at the same grocery store where she'd once bagged her neighbor's food as a teenager. Now she wore the manager's badge, not because it was her dream, but because it was the only ladder available. And inside, she felt like that vase, cracked, forgotten, no longer beautiful. What she didn't know yet was this: sometimes being broken is the first condition for blooming. Maya Parker had once been the kind of girl teachers bragged about. She played violin, made the honor roll, even got into a good college. But life doesn't always honor potential. Her mom got sick her sophomore year, and Maya came home to help. Bills mounted, classes slipped, her scholarship disappeared, and before she knew it, the girl who was going to make it out was stuck behind a cash register. 10 years later, she was still there, clocking in, clocking out, her dreams now packed away like clothes that didn't fit anymore. When friends visited during holidays, she smiled through the same questions. "You still at the store?" And every time she answered yes, a little more of her spirit curled inward. It was a Tuesday night in November when everything cracked. A customer yelled because the store was out of their favorite cereal. Maya apologized, but the man cursed under his breath. Pathetic. Can't even keep a shelf stocked. She went home, sat in the dark, and whispered to herself, "Is this all I'll ever be?" The room was silent except for the humming fridge. And then, in the silence, something unexpected rose. A memory. Her grandmother's voice, soft but steady. "Baby, a seed looks like nothing before it breaks. But once it breaks, it blooms." Maya cried that night. Not polite tears, ugly, snotty, gut-deep sobs, because she realized she wasn't just tired of her life. She was tired of being broken without blooming. The next morning, Maya did something small. She didn't quit her job. She didn't start a business. She simply bought a notebook. On the first page, she wrote, "Things I will change. 1. My health. 2. My money. 3. My future." It looked ridiculous, like a grocery list too big for one cart, but she carried that notebook everywhere. When she felt the weight of her manager's badge, she wrote, "This is temporary." When she wanted to eat her pain away, she wrote, "This isn't fuel, this is filler." When she looked at her paycheck and wanted to give up, she wrote, "This is seed money, not a sentence." It didn't erase the struggle, but it lit a candle where there had been only dark. Change, of course, didn't clap for her, tested her. Week 1. She tried meal prepping but burned half the food. A week 2. She signed up for an online budgeting course and closed the laptop halfway through. A week 3. She walked into a gym and turned around before even signing the form. Each attempt felt like proof that she was still broken. But one night, flipping through her notebook, she realized something. Every page wasn't filled with wins, but every page was filled with tries. And tries were more than she had yesterday. By month 2, the scale showed 5 pounds gone. By month 4, she had a $300 emergency fund. By month 6, she had actually finished that budgeting course and started helping her coworkers understand their pay stubs. None of it looked glamorous, but it felt like her roots were finally pressing deeper. One evening, she caught her reflection in the store's freezer glass. Same uniform, same name tag, but the eyes staring back looked alive. She whispered, "Maybe I'm not just surviving, maybe I'm sprouting." Then came the layoff rumors, corporate cuts, store closures. When Maya heard the news, panic clawed at her chest. The old voice returned, "See, you'll never escape. Even when you grow, the storm rips you out." For 2 days she spiraled. Didn't write in the notebook, didn't eat well, didn't sleep. But on the 3rd morning, she sat up in bed and said aloud, "No, I've been broken before. This time, I'll bloom." And she applied for 20 jobs in a single week. Half never responded. A few rejected her outright. But one, a local nonprofit needing a program coordinator, called her back. The interview wasn't perfect. She stumbled over her words. Her hands shook. But when they asked, "Why should we choose you?" Maya took a breath and said, "Because I know what it's like to be broken, and I know what it takes to change. I don't just want this job. I want to help others bloom too." They hired her. The day she put on her new badge, she went home, pulled out the old notebook, and added a fourth line for my story, because change hadn't just altered her health, money, and future. It had rewritten her story. And maybe right here, I'll ask you something simple. If her story touched you, comment one word, bloom, below. Let it be your seed, your first step toward change. Then keep listening, because Maya's story is about you too. Maybe you're listening and thinking, "That's Maya, not me. My broken is deeper." Maybe you're right. Maybe your vase is shattered into more pieces. But here's the truth Maya discovered. Broken doesn't mean useless. Broken doesn't mean done. Sometimes broken is the only doorway to blooming. The power of change is not that it erases pain, but that it transforms it into possibility. So the question is not whether you're broken. The question is, will you bloom? So maybe today you're sitting among your own shards, bills on the table, rejections in your inbox, loneliness echoing in your chest. It feels like brokenness. But maybe, just maybe, it's the soil for your bloom. Because the day Maya stopped stepping over the pieces and started planting them into change was the day her life transformed. And maybe it's your day too. If this story spoke to you, comment, bloom below. Let's see how many of us are ready to begin. Hit like, subscribe for a new motivational story every day, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we're building more than stories. We're building lives.